Welcome to the Low Stakes Podcast. With ticks are hot, the negus smoke low and slow, and the stories are always medium rare. Hosted by Jeff Avgaris, fisherman and backyard barbecue master. Alongside co-host Dave Lodwig, a Star Wars-loving, baseball-obsessed pitmaster. And produced by the outdoorsman himself, Nate Cross. Quite possibly the greatest name in podcast. This is the Low Stakes Podcast.
Welcome back. June 8th, 2026. We are back for another exciting June episode here. Guys, what's been going on?
You guys following that news story about the, it's a PTA president in Vermont, and she drove her Volvo into a Whole Foods intentionally?
There are so many things about that.
Witnesses described it as the whitest crime they had ever seen.
You've heard of blue-collar crime? Well, this is
as white as it gets.
This is pumpkin spice crime.
That is definitely that. Yeah, I had mentioned on the podcast last time that I got the Yoder. I switched out.
You've been grilling?
I have not. I haven't even used it yet. But this happened. I don't remember if I said it on the podcast last time or not, but I bought the Yoder. Great smoker. Wonderful, right? So I'm on Facebook Marketplace, and I just cruise around every once in a while, and I get targeted by a new listing. It's a big green egg, XL, brand new, down at Trader Brothers, and they're selling it brand new with stand for almost half off. And I told Sarah, I was like, I don't need it.
But you want it.
But I want it. And I got to have it, right? And Sarah's like, okay. And we look at it, and she's like, I mean, what are we going to do with it? I was like, well, this is a green egg's use is different than a Yoder or a gas grill. It's a different, you use charcoal or lump charcoal, and, it's different. So I was like, all right. So I go down there, and the guys, I was like, I'm going to commit to it. So I commit to it. I go down there, and the guy's like, look, we got 6 people waiting behind you. Do you want this? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take it. And I said, but I'm going to be honest with you. I don't need it. Right. And the guys looks at each other. And the one guy hands the other guy $20. He's like, I bet that somebody was going to buy this that just absolutely didn't need this and wasn't even looking for one. It was just going to pop up. He's like, it's just that good a deal that somebody's just going to buy it. So now I got a big green egg. I got a green egg. I got a Yoder. I got my gas grill. And my wife's wondering if I'm crazy.
I have 3 tables set up in my garage right now that, I brought home, folding tables. And it's all for this mythical garage sale that we're going to have at some point. And there's so much stuff piled on these tables. Like,
are you actually going to do a garage sale?
Yeah.
You should tell them I got stuff I'll bring over.
All right.
Because I can't. I don't have enough to do it on my own.
He'll bring it over now, though. Just add it to the table.
And that's the thing is, like, we've had these tables set up since May, and like one table is just a pile of Star Wars toys. So nerds in our listening audience right now, go ahead and hit us up, and I can let you know what's going up for sale. But I just have all this stuff, and so, like, I'm sure you guys do. Like, I'll just flip through Amazon. I'm like, oh, that's a good deal. Oh, that's a good deal. And yeah, I don't need it. And in the past, I would just be like, whatever, I could justify it because it's, 60% off or whatever. But I'm so sick and tired of not having room in my house, like, and this stuff piling up. And like, I've just, ever since you and I went to Florida and we were staying in those condos, and I realized the amount of space you have in a condo.
Yeah.
I was just like, I need to downsize stuff so that this can come to fruition sooner rather than later.
That's like a necessity every 12 to 24 months. It's just to go around and make some hard decisions. It's like, I forgot I had that, so that means I probably don't need it,
Well, and it proves the point that, do we really own anything?
Yeah, right.
Because we buy it, and then we turn around and sell it. So really, we're just renting it.
That's true.
All this stuff that we buy with our disposable income, we just sort of rent it, and then try to make the money back after we're done with it, or we just wind up just giving it to Goodwill or whatnot. And
That's
so
That is really deep.
Yeah, I was not expecting such a convicting message.
And us as humans, are we just renting space until we're gone on Earth, or
what need inside of myself am I trying to satiate with my consumerism? I don't understand. Maybe if Dad had hugged me more.
Well, we're proud of you, Dave.
I know, I try.
So I will say I did get one. I already got my Father's Day gift from my family, and this was before the big green egg was a thing. But I've wanted forever a pizza oven, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we got a pizza oven, and I found online, dough's easy to make, but I kind of didn't want to worry about that part. So I found this thing online, Poco something, not sponsored. They sell New York pizza dough. They freeze them in a ball. They ship them to you. You take them out, thaw them. They rise. You make your pizza dough, whatever. And I get the pizza thing. I'm like, this is gonna be good, right? Whatever. I made a pizza, and I was like, I'll never buy pizza ever again. It was that freaking good. And it was so much cheaper. Now a pizza's what, $15, $20, $25, depending on the size.
Oh yeah.
I mean, between that dough, I bought the dough and they shipped it to me. There's 25 different doughs. Between that dough and then buying the ingredients, I bet I was $4 into a pizza, and it was as good as any pizza in town. Absolutely. I was
Did
like,
you get
awesome.
flake salt and put it around the edge?
No, I haven't heard of
It'll
that.
elevate. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. Just like coat it with a little bit of like butter or olive oil, the edge of the crust before you bake it, and then just like sprinkle that really like shaved flake salt on it.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Not like a rock salt, but like a shave.
No, you don't want it to be like crunchy.
Yeah.
You just want a little bit of like really fine shaved salt, and it'll elevate any pizza.
Interesting.
It's awesome.
I'll try that.
So two Christmases ago, my wife Heather got me a pizza oven, but it's one of the ones that goes inside of your pellet smoker.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I opened it up like, this is awesome. And I've used it once.
Yeah.
It's the metal frame, and it slides inside there, and it's got the stone in there, and you let it heat up and all of this stuff, and it's got the tray that goes in and all of this, and it all sounds so great in theory, but here's the problem. It is so easy to use my thumb to order a pizza from Bridge, and they bring it to you.
The issue is it has to be easy, like you're saying, right? So I've had one of those before that goes in the smoker.
Yeah.
There's two problems. One, it's not easy. You're going to have to take it out. You're going to have to put it back. You're going to have to clean it. You're never going to use it. But two, that thing's never going to get hot enough. This pizza oven gets up to like 1,000 degrees.
Yeah.
And you cook between like 750 to 900 degrees. That smoker's only going to get up to like 500 degrees unless you catch it on fire. So it's like, and it's its own thing. I have its own tank. So I take the thing off. It's just a click, 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 like a gas grill. It fires up. 10 minutes, it's up to temperature, and it's ready to go. So it's like super easy. I really think I'm going to use it. I'm like looking at like steaks. Like there's people that will like smoke their steak to like 110, and then they'll put it in there to get the sear on it.
Yeah, the crust.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm going to try that,
All right, so this is my challenge. This is my personal challenge.
Okay,
you're going to buy all this cookware, all of these different things for all of these theoretical meals you're going to be eating in the future.
Yep.
Delete DoorDash from your phone. Can't do it, can you?
I can't make Asian food like DoorDash can.
Oh, come on, man. That's the thing. Is like I'm going to buy all of this stuff, and so I've got my different devices for making all of this food every night of the week. But man, DoorDash is so easy to do.
It's so easy. I will say though that it lessens our burden for DoorDash when we get stuff. But...
yeah, because DoorDash is a burden. Ooh, man. Oh, let's double dash. It's 1:30 in the morning. I know, but I need Dairy Queen.
Cold Stone is such an easy double dash. Gosh, it's brutal. Brutal.
You know what you should get?
Yeah, I do.
No, you really should. you go down Broadway, and there's that brick oven place. Have you ever seen that? if you go down, oh man, it's they have them on the side. It's literally like those brick ovens that you put in your backyard. And so I just
Oh, really?
yeah, I just where you bake bread.
Oh.
So I just want to come over to your house and you got one of those long wooden spatula things and you're just like, hey, come on in, I'm making some sourdough. And
I got bib overalls
Yeah,
on.
he's wearing the white.
Giant brick oven, and it's like
I'm yodeling.
yeah, like wow, dude, you really like to eat.
Only the best.
I could see it.
yeah. You little lean.
Well, on the yodel topic here, Dave, you want to talk about our first sponsor?
You guys smell that?
I do.
I know you maybe thought, Dave, did you sleep on a park bench last night? No, I did not. That is the subtle scent of barrel-aged whiskey. One of the many colognes that you can find from our good friends at MysteryMeadows.com. MysteryMeadows.com has got a bunch of male healthcare, skincare products, including a line of colognes, which are top-notch. So visit MysteryMeadows.com today and elevate your sense of personal hygiene.
You too can smell like you slept on a park
can
bench.
smell like an alcoholic.
What everybody's always dreamed of.
Exactly. Next one's like their next 10 is like Colt 45 and cigarettes.
Old English.
Old English. Smells like grandpa.
Have
A
I?
bit of coffee mixed in there.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if I've told you this story, but when I was in college, I was in electronics. And so if you put two resistors in a long story short, if you put two 40 amp resistors in the same series, it actually becomes 20 amps of resistance. It's weird. But anyways, when I turned
TED Talk.
Yeah, when I turned 20, my fraternity brothers got me two 40s of Old English because in thing there's 20. So anyways, So I drank.
They cancel themselves out.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I drank 80 ounces Old English that night and had a headache. So
We need to move on, but I'll just say, like, my dad used to refer to those as a beer.
yeah,
I would be like, Dad, are you drinking a 40 of Old English? Yeah, I just thought I'd have a couple of beers.
a couple of beers.
Like, well, let's go get your liver tested because, gosh.
The trick to those darn things, though, is them warming up before you could drink all of them. I mean, you had to be after it, or else they're going to warm up. You know.
Do you see? Is it Coors Light? Their special beer can they have for the World Cup. It's like this tall. It's called a taller boy.
Yeah.
It's 3 cans of
of
Coors Light all in one container that they're selling for the World Cup. So that's the only way that soccer can be tolerable.
That'll go well.
You have to get tanked. Halfback passes to center, holds. Hey, give me another one of those tall boys.
Taller
boys.
So, on that note, our main topic we want to talk about, because we're going way back. We're going 40 years back. We're going back to 1986. I was 6 years old. How old were you?
No, I was 10. I turned 11 at the end of 86.
At the end of 86?
Yeah.
And Nate was but a twinkle in his daddy's eye at that time.
Actually, my parents got married in 86.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
So he was a big twinkle in his daddy's eye.
I am number 3 in the birth order, though, so
Okay.
I think you got a couple other twinkles going
There's
on.
some more twinkling happening before you. So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. I just wanted to give a quick some details of what happened in 1986 if you were not alive, or if you were and you're just too darn old to remember. Challenger disaster happened beginning of the year. Chernobyl happened, which was exciting. Halley's Comet was in 86, which is a thing. Ronald Reagan was the president. One thing I didn't realize, I was only 6 years old. The Statue of Liberty's centennial celebration was that year, which is cool. Oprah debuted.
Yep.
Go.
Wow, that actually surprised me.
That's something.
Nobody knew who she was. She was like a low tier celebrity out of Chicago, and she just had this talk show that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And she just became this huge deal.
She was very personable. I remember watching it when I was young.
Yeah.
It was just like, she was an easy watch. Gas prices, 93 cents a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
Eggs, people always quote egg prices. I don't think people understand what egg prices are anyways, but 87 cents a dozen. The top movies that year: Top Gun, Crocodile Dundee, Platoon, Karate Kid 2, Aliens, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yep.
Those are all bangers in my book. Top songs, the top song of the year. This actually kind of surprised me. The top song was "That's What Friends Are For." Remember, that's what friends are for. Remember that?
Yeah. No, keep going.
Yeah, that was good. We're gonna get a copyright strike.
Yeah.
Madonna's True Blue album.
Mm-hmm.
Living on a Prayer, which we were talking about. Slippery When Wet came out for Bon Jovi. Take My Breath Away, obviously, because it was Top Gun year.
Berlin.
Yep, Berlin. Walk Like an Egyptian. That was
the Bangles.
The Bangles.
Yeah.
The lead singer. Whew.
I know.
Yep. Kiss from Prince. Party All the Time from Eddie Murphy. My girl wants to party all the time, party all the time, party all the time. Yep, that's a good song.
Notice I'm not singing along.
Eddie Murphy.
Ozzy had Shot in the Dark that year.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Final Countdown and Take Me Home Tonight.
Take me
Big year.
home tonight.
Eddie Money.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So that's what was happening that year. Fun year.
I mean, let's be honest. I'm probably the one that remembers it the most out of the three of us.
For sure.
Like as we said before we started rolling, Nate really has nothing to contribute to this conversation other than like I watched some YouTube clips that informed me.
Yep.
When we said we were going to do this, I sat back and I was like, okay, 86. And so I did the math in my head and I was like, okay, so 86, the beginning of 86 was the end of my fourth grade year. And then the end of 86 was the beginning of my fifth grade year. And so I was trying to remember everything that we did there. And I jotted down some stuff and that I remember from being essentially 10 years old, most of 1986. I was born end of 75. So 86 was really my 10-year-old year. And there were, I think the biggest thing that I remember is that's when the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, really became huge. I think it was released the year before in 85. Mm-hmm. And I remember, you're still doing sleepovers at that point, and you go over, and when a kid got an NES, it was just like, I think it was a parent's dream for sleepovers, because then the kids just left you alone. Like, you didn't have to entertain the kids because we were just on there. But, it was always about Contra. So we played Contra because it was always a 2-player game. But there was a game that came out in 1986 on the NES that I think was world changing, and that was Legend of Zelda.
It was the number one video game that year.
Yeah. So true story, I tried to play it back then, and I just for whatever reason didn't get into it. I finally beat the original Legend of Zelda 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It took me almost 40 years, but I finally beat it. And it, going back when you're 10 years old and you're playing it, it doesn't have the immediate like pull in that like a Super Mario Brothers did, or some of the other games, I loved playing Double Dribble on the NES back in the day. Double Dribble, Blades of was it Blades of Steel? Where
it's not Blades of Glory.
Not Blades. I almost said Blades of Glory, but it's Blades of Steel, and it was an ice hockey game, but you can get in fights. Mm-hmm. That was like world changing back then. And but Zelda, I tried to play it, and it was just like, eh.
It's odd to me. I agree with you. I think the Legend of Zelda franchise was kind of world changing, but I don't really know why, because it is such a slow burn.
Oh yeah,
especially those early ones. where like you're competing against these things where it's like, that's kind of getting into their very first of the, like 30-second attention span sort of stuff. Whereas Legend of Zelda, it's like, if you don't sit down for like an hour at least and like focus hard for that entire hour, you're not going to really get through it.
It's funny that you say that. So my brother in 85, the Christmas of 85, he got for our big gift. My mom at Christmas, I don't know if you guys are like this or not, but my mom, she would get us our school clothes for the year and wrap them. And then we'd each get one big gift. That 1985, my brother got a Nintendo and I got a stereo with a cassette player, double cassette player. It was sweet. I had it clear up until I was moved out to college. But in the the Christmas of 86, I got a Nintendo. And what I got was they did a pack. They did the Nintendo and it had 3 games with it. It had Duck Hunt with the gun. Mm-hmm. It had Super Mario Brothers and it had The Legends of Zelda. So that's what you played. And so I played Super Mario Brothers until it was like, no, I beat the game. Mm-hmm. But I did back then play Zelda until I beat the game. There was one part, and I cannot remember what it was, but there's like a hidden sword or something that you couldn't find.
Yeah.
And back then, and this is a thing, there was a phone number, since there's no internet, there was a phone number you could call, and they would actually help you find certain things. Nintendo had set this up. So I told my mom, I got to find this. I got to do it. We got to call. My mom's like, that's a scam. We're not calling. Not happening. We're not doing it. So I had to ask her.
That's run by the Russians.
So anyways, I actually had a friend who found it, and that's how I finally finished off the game. But it was cool. And I had those 3 games forever.
I was old enough when the NES came out, there was like an adjustment period to it because, going back to like the old Atari, what was it? Atari 2600 or whatever it was. Those games were so like rudimentary, and it's just like it was just like beeps and like. Bloop, 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 bloop.
But you remember the puck game where you'd move the thing and you would turn and it was like doing, yeah.
They weren't designed for long play.
No.
Right. It's like, okay, these 9 blocks arranged in this pattern on the screen got old, so let's plug in the next game, which is 10 blocks arranged in a different pattern on the screen.
Yeah.
And when the NES came out, it was like a world-changing event.
It was.
Because number one, there was no joystick.
Mm-hmm.
That was the very first true gamepad, and that was weird. It's like you're holding a rectangle after having a joystick forever. A joystick and one red button was your whole life up until that point.
Yeah.
But then the games themselves were designed for long play. Like Metroid. Metroid, like I just remember my neighbor kid had an NES and he played Metroid for like months.
Yep.
And I was like, I couldn't wrap my head around that originally because the games that came before it, you'd play for 20 minutes.
Or like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Oh, Punch-Out.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it took forever to beat that. It got hard at the end, really hard.
So in a lot of ways, like video game culture today wouldn't exist without the NES because there was the great, I want to say it was around 83, the great video game crash where, there's whole documentaries about how the Atari and particularly the ET game, it came out in 83, was just awful. And there's like literally you can like in landfills in this country, there's a bunch of Atari ET games and other things, and people just like gave up on video games. And Nintendo came in and it not only saved the industry, it made the industry entrenched in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was because of our generation, where, all of a sudden we're just playing this thing at sleepovers, in 86, and just falling in love with it, God, Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah.
Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, Tecmo Bowl's great.
So a few years ago when Nintendo released the NES Classic, the little mini one, I have it, my wife had our friend go stand in line to get it because it was my Christmas present that year. She surprised me with it, and that thing is awesome. And you can play every NES game on an emulator on your laptop or whatnot, but there's something about having that directional pad again, and you're just playing it, and
I got to get that. I don't have it.
Oh yeah, you can come over, man.
Yeah, I
you
should
can come over because you got the long cord, and you're just sitting there.
And when you get mad, you
oh yeah, I will admit, like, I went online, I figured out I hacked it. It came with like something like 20 games on it, but I hacked it, and I've got like 80 games
nice
on my NES Classics sitting on in my living room, and there's some good ones on there. But
those are rookie numbers. You got to pump those up.
I know. But that's how I beat Zelda is, on my NES Classic. I finally beat it, and the only way I could beat it was they have save states on it, and so you play it.
Were you save scaling?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I didn't care. I just wanted to complete an almost 40-year journey that I had.
Well, and that again is another reason why, like, I don't know why it took off. Like, people who play that game or that genre of games without save states, that's like masochistic.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
oh yeah,
it's infuriating.
No doubt.
Oh yeah,
no doubt.
So 86, Legend of Zelda.
So yeah, so the so this isn't just a video game discussion. I don't remember. I'll be honest. I don't remember Chernobyl vividly. I think I don't know if it was just. I mean, it was a thing, but it was like
I remember the Challenger explosion.
I'd remember that.
We actually watched it in my 4th grade classroom.
I can see it like it was yesterday.
So can I. Yeah. And, we all sat there, and I remember watching it live. And Mrs. Nash, that was my 4th grade teacher, and it exploded. And she was like, "Uh-oh," she rushed up and turned the TV off and like, "Well, let's go back." Kids were like, "What just happened?" She clearly understood that all those people just died.
Yeah.
Like, we all just watched them die.
It's funny it's a good discussion topic for today.
Dude, that's the worst segue.
What a transition.
Let's talk about death a little bit.
It's funny.
It's American tragedy and all this stuff. And you got the biggest grin on your face. You're like, yeah, it was great, man. Like,
well, it's the funny part is that the difference between 1986 and 2026 in a school, like today, if that happened live and that exact thing happened, we would have like support groups and we'd be sending kids home and we'd be doing all this stuff. I remember clearly, I was in kindergarten. I remember clearly my teacher at the time, Mrs. Horton, she walks up, she turns off the TV, is like, "All right, get your books out." I mean, it was just like, I mean, it wasn't like she didn't care, but it was just like, let's move on, this is not something that we're going to dwell on, and it just is a different world,
Yeah, so I remember that vividly, but like you said, I had no clue about Chernobyl. I don't think I even really learned about Chernobyl till years later.
Yeah,
I think it was a highly suppressed thing. From what I understand, again, not being around for that, but from what I understand, like, governments knew about it, but they were kind of like, we don't want this to get out. So it really wasn't until later 80s. Even early 90s, that kind of the general populace started to really be like, wow, that actually is really bad and took place. And I don't remember that. I've heard a lot of people say that exact same thing.
Well, I think, so like 4th grade, I think or maybe I was 5th grade when it happened. I think, was it later in 86?
It was early, actually.
Early. So I would have been in 4th grade. So yeah, so after school, I would go to this gentleman's club and read the Wall Street Journal while sipping some brandy. And I remember just reading the headline, but I didn't care because they were the Soviets and we wanted to eradicate them anyway. So,
and that is probably a big part of it for sure.
Yeah,
I think it was one of those things where, I mean, I'm confident in saying, especially looking at old documentaries, that it was covered very well. I mean, as it started to come out, it got covered more and more and more that year. But I don't know that we understood the level of severity. I don't think they realized that. I mean, we were super close to, like, maybe not a world killer, but definitely Europe was not going to be in good shape.
Right.
Sort of
well,
thing,
I mean, the news reports, if you look at those, obviously coming out of the Soviet Union, but even I think Sweden detected the radiation spike, and a couple other countries did. And they just, it was an accident. Like it's kind of normal operation. There had already been several nuclear accidents in other countries or even in the Soviet Union at that point. And so it was kind of like, yeah, you see the article, but it's like, oh, that's happened before. No big deal. And then kind of moved on. And I think that was intentional where the public knows about it, but they don't know the extent of it until a little bit later.
Well, I think they thought of it like the 3 Mile Island disaster where it was, it's like you took note of it, but it didn't really affect your life.
Yeah.
And because it was happening on the other side of the planet. And I mean, in all seriousness, it was, there's a certain amount of like, well, Russians get what they deserve because we're in the midst of the Cold War at the time.
Yeah.
Nobody really batted an eye about it. So I went back. There was 3 things that I vividly remember the most about 1986 at that age. Number 1, I got a calculator watch.
Yes.
And so I remember you would sit there and you're working on long division and you'd be like, all right. Yeah. And then you do that. And you felt like you would were given free license to cheat as a 4th grader. Calculator watches. I remember in all of the music albums that were talked about, there was one that hit our elementary school hard, and that was "License to Ill" by the Beastie Boys.
Yes.
That came out in '86, and I remember the first time you heard it, and understand like hip hop music, rap was still in its infancy at that point.
Yeah.
You had like the Fat Boys singing about jelly rolls and or the Sugar Hill Gang, doing their thing. When License to Ill dropped and it started to make its way around the elementary school and, the tapes would get passed around, and you listen to that, oh my gosh. The first time I heard Brass Monkey, I was just like, oh, this is awesome. And that whole Fight for Your Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was huge that year. And so for me, rap music became legitimized with License to Ill, because then all of a sudden, it was always the Beastie Boys and Run DMC.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you started to get more and more like LL Cool J came out, and then you hit the early 90s when it just basically took over culture. And there was like this 4-year span from License to Ill by then. And I think it was because our generation, we had that album and it was just so awesome. It was a little cheesy, but it was intentional. Like, you'd listen to a track like Girls on there, and then all of a sudden the guitar riff from No Sleep Till Brooklyn kicks in, and you're just like, oh, it was just such a unique thing that had never been heard before. And so Calculator watches, License to Ill, and then the single greatest toy made for boys ever became huge that year.
Wait, what do you think it is?
I know what it is, so I'm not going to
What do you think it is?
I have no idea.
So everybody, mid 80s, it was He-Man, and so the Castle Grayskull playset was a big deal if you had that. But then He-Man started to get a little corny. I still want to go see the movie. I haven't seen it yet. But you realize it's like, well, it's just a dude in a hairy Speedo with a sword. Thundercats. I think Thundercats, it was either 86 or 87 that came out. But there was a toy line and a subsequent cartoon that was just huge. And that was G.I. Joe.
Okay. I was thinking maybe Transformers.
Transformers was big. 86 was when the first Transformers cartoon movie came out.
Yeah.
But as far as sheer scale, Transformers never produced, something to the sheer scale of this. And G.I. Joe, it actually came out in late 85, but it started to pop up in actual kids' homes in 86. It was the USS Flag aircraft carrier. The thing was 6 feet long. And so it became this, like, again, mythical thing amongst elementary school kids because it was over $100 to buy it, which back then it was like, if you wanted to buy something for $100, you had to go down to the emergency room and see if anybody needed a kidney.
Yeah.
And,
No
just
doubt.
hang out,
Yeah.
out front like, hey, I don't really use my left eye if you need it. I just need $100. But if you had it. And so there was one kid in my elementary school that got it in 86. And I remember it was beginning of 5th grade. He had it. And so it was the immediate, like, we got to have a sleepover over at Dustin's.
Yeah.
And you go over, and that thing was it was mind-boggling how big it was. I mean, 6 feet long. And, they had those, G.I. Joe had their F-14 airplane set. You could get it, you put a couple figures in there, and it was about, I don't know, about this long. You could, like, line, like, 3 or 4 of them up on it.
That's cool.
It was unbelievable. And so, like, every kid my age was envious of the one kid you knew that had that toy set, because that was like the ultimate status symbol back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You search for one of those on eBay?
Oh, they are crazy expensive.
Take a guess.
Thousands.
$500.
Between $3,000 and $8,000.
Yeah. They were,
crazy.
I remember seeing it at Toys R Us in Portland, Oregon. And the box was huge. I mean, the box was like, it felt like the size of this television over here. And it's sitting on the top of the shelf. And I think they put it on the top of the shelf to remind you that you're not going to be able to have it. Like, unless your dad, works for a Fortune 500 company, the best you can do is just stand up and look at it. And it was, yeah.
That right there tells me that there's a lot of middle-aged men with disposable income trying to relive their
Totally.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They're renting the USS Flag.
That's right.
USS Flag. That toy was just, anybody my age, you go back and they may not know it by the term USS Flag, but if you say the G.I. Joe aircraft carrier, everybody's like, oh yeah, it's just, there was something about that thing. I think it was because of the size and the scale of it. So
That's awesome.
We don't really have things like that anymore. Like I'm trying to think of something like that for my generation.
Yeah.
I don't think it really exists.
We kind of lived in the sort of golden era of action figures for guys. It started with Star Wars figures in '78. So Star Wars figures were the first where you had, a certain scale size of figure. They were the first 3 3/4 inch figure that were popular, but then they had vehicles you could buy and go with them. So it wasn't like I have Han Solo and Chewbacca. I have to have the Millennium Falcon to put them in. And so that kickstarted the whole craze of that scale of figure with vehicles that they could go with. And, companies like Kenner and Hasbro just made tons of money off of that because kids ate it up. And, we had Star Wars, and then we had G.I. Joe, and then Transformers came out. I think it was 84. And then it was just like one thing after another. And everything had to have a cartoon that went with it. So you had to watch the cartoon to see how you're supposed to play with the toys. And I remember Mask. So if you were old enough, so Mask was almost like Transformers, where they were a vehicle that would turn into a second vehicle. And then the little guys flying it, they had masks that they wore. And the mask.
I've never heard of this.
MAS. It's an acronym, MASK, but Mask was huge. I think Matt Tracker was the name of the main hero. But then you had Voltron was in there. That was more early 80s. But then you had Thundercats, and just everybody my age can still sing that theme song. And then you had Silverhawks, and it was just action figure line after action figure line and after action figure line. And a lot of the action figures that we have today, if you go walk through like the Walmart or Target toy sections, it's just a continuation of the 80s action figure lines that came out.
Yeah. Yeah. So at the thread of ruining a future discussion topic, I think we'll keep going, because I think that would be a good one to talk about in the future, because that's an important part of that time period. Tell us about our next sponsor, Dave.
I really enjoy. What? I just.
I get a little like twitchy every time.
Yeah. What's that guy gonna say? I really enjoy having a roof over my head.
Yeah, you do.
You know, in this day and age, in this economy, to have one over my head, you know, and I feel bad for all those suckers out there that don't have one.
I don't even know who I would ask to find one. Do you?
No. Well, actually, I do. I do. This is a good transition.
Yeah.
You know, so if you need a roof over your head,
Yeah.
you should reach out to Rose Chadwell Real Estate.
Mm-hmm.
Rose Chadwell is the best realtor in the entire state of Montana.
Absolutely.
And her team over at Big Sky Brokers will do everything they can to help you find your forever dream home here, Big Sky. Email Rose at bigskybrokers.com and get the journey to your forever home started today.
Yes. Forever home is a good thing. Next week we'll be talking about Father's Day that's coming up. So having a home, having that security, get your house before Father's Day gets here. Call Rose for sure. And also, you know, one last thing that we want to talk about today in our new segment, Get Off My Lawn.
Get off my lawn.
I think this is kind of a fun one. Let's go back in history. Nate's probably old enough to remember cell phones. Everybody has stuff
Totally.
like that.
Oh yeah.
So technology's really advanced in the last 30 years, 25 for sure. So my question to you guys that we should talk about is if you could get rid of one current technological thing, what would it be?
AI.
AI?
Yeah. Like, why is that even a debate? Like, we are literally writing our own doom as we speak right now. And there is nothing worse in humanity.
Easy, Dave. Easy.
Than the development of art. I saw that movie. I saw the movie.
iRobot it is.
Terminator.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
Terminator. Hey, you know, let's create an artificial intelligence that can think for us. What could go wrong?
Hey, that's a good one. We should do a Terminator review. That'd be timely.
I think next time we do a year in review, let's go back to the 90s, maybe like 93 around Jurassic Park and that kind of era, just so that Nathan can actually contribute.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Exactly. Like, I was one, but I kind of remember.
Well, we'd have to do like 95 or 96.
Oh, we can do that. I think AI to me is the scariest one out there.
Yeah.
And you know, my cousin works for Microsoft, and he's always telling me, he's always like, hey, we have so many safeguards to keep AI from becoming the thing that movies have depicted it about. And I'm like, is that what AI told you to tell me?
Well, the only reason I would disagree with you on picking one technology to get rid of and it being AI is that it's kind of getting rid of itself. I think the bubble is popping. We just saw a huge press release from Sam Altman, OpenAI, and Microsoft's doing it, Google's doing it, Apple's doing it now too, that they finally released their AI after 2 years of it's coming soon. But what we're seeing is at the boom, when it first started, it was free.
Yeah.
Everyone could use it as much as they wanted for free. And these data centers, these companies creating it, they were willing to take the loss because they were betting that it was gonna get people hooked. It was gonna be this like world-changing technology, and then they could start charging you for it, and people would actually continue using it. Well, they started charging people for it, and everybody hates it, and they're not using it anymore, or they're not able to do what they were doing before because now they have like spending limits or something. I think Uber implemented like a certain number of tokens per day for their engineers, their development engineers, and or it might have been per week, and they had engineers using those tokens within an hour. So now those engineers who can only code with AI because all they know is vibe coding and that's it. Now suddenly they're getting fired because they're not producing anything. And the engineers who don't rely on AI are actually getting their jobs. And so I think we're seeing the beginning, like the needle is touching the bubble, and I think it's about to pop. So that's the only reason I wouldn't say like AI is the thing I would get rid of.
The challenge,
just because I think it's going to get rid of itself.
The challenge with that is that's stateside, and we have to compete against China and other places that are doing AI without the regulation that we're trying to put on it. And to compete, specifically militarily, you have to keep up with that. So, so that's really the issue. It's not necessarily the common use of people. It's military. It's, control over how the government uses it, things like that. There's no controls on them.
I think what I hope we'll see is AI will be a very specific tool, maybe used by the military, medical science, but instead of being this kind of like it does everything for me, it's going to be, like I said, a extremely like focused tool, and that's going to be the best use of it. And I think we're going to see the kind of general public adoption of AI really start to fall off, even in other countries. But the United States will still have the opportunity to compete on the global scale if we turn AI into that tool where it's serving us rather than a crutch for us. I don't know. We'll see.
Nate, I want to remind you that this is supposed to be a comedy podcast.
Hey, you brought up AI.
All right, so tying back to AI, I'm going to tie this back to AI, and this is what makes me nervous about AI. If I could, in all seriousness, get rid of one form of technology.
You already picked yours.
Oh, shut up.
I made such a convincing argument that he's going to change it.
Like, I'm going to do number 2 now and 3.
Yeah, exactly. There's one thing I think society could do without, and it's not technology. It's more of a feature of technology. We would be so better off as a society if we got rid of the comment section.
Oh, yeah.
And like, growing up, going back to like 86, growing up and all this stuff, I knew that there was ignorant, ill-informed people out there. The comment section gave them a platform. And it's like, man, I had no idea that so many white trash people lived within 30 miles of me. Yeah. And then you see it on the comment section, and it's like nothing is ripping apart the fabric of our society more than the comment section. And it's like it's a weird opiate. You'll scroll through Facebook or, Instagram or whatever, or even YouTube, you're on YouTube, and it's like, oh, people commented on this thing that I now am thinking about. I wonder what they thought about. Oh no.
Yeah.
It just becomes this.
And mine would be stacking on that. Mine would be social media, period.
Yeah.
And social media is my job. I make my living off of, it's part of my business. But the negatives of social media to society, to children, to the people that are still being raised right now on it, the negatives far outweigh the positives.
Oh, yeah.
People talk about like, especially with Twitter X or, ones that you have engagement in, that it's free information. The media doesn't control the narratives and things like that. The problem is that people read something and believe it. And those, just like you said, with the comment sections or with whatever, people can write whatever they want with no recourse. And we've gotten to the point, this isn't a unique idea on my part, but we've gotten to the point in society where you just don't get punched in the mouth for saying stupid shit anymore.
I know.
And people need to be. You need to be able to stand in front of somebody and say something and being like, that's not the truth. And you can argue with them, and they're like, all right, So I think if social media went away, I was going to say cell phones, but the positives to cell phones are way outweigh the negatives. I remember not having a cell phone and being like, this is ridiculous. But I think as a society, if you took social media away tomorrow, it would improve our societal, cohesiveness and how we raise our kids and how our kids interact. I think it would really help our society.
And there really wouldn't be any like negative effects.
No,
there would be some perceived negative effects that people would go through that withdrawal, but like, it would actually be better for them.
Totally.
And honestly, if you got rid of social media, I think it would fix most of the negatives that come from the smartphone.
Agreed.
So I think that's a two birds, one stone sort of thing.
You couldn't sit here like this as a kid. Kids are sitting there. Well, it's social media that they're sitting there looking at.
I would take a different tact on this, because my thing was, and maybe not necessarily something I'd get rid of, but something I would want it to work. And that's printers. It is 2026. There is absolutely no reason that my printer doesn't just work.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I would almost just say get rid of them before I would use the current state of printing the way it is. That's something where that's get off my lawn.
Printing is the biggest scam. Because printer companies found out a long time ago, we don't make money off the printers. We make money off the ink. So literally, we live in a world where you can buy a printer and the recharged ink cartridges you put in it cost more than it originally cost for that printer.
What's the most valuable material in the world?
Love.
That's wow. Oof. It's getting real metaphysical in here.
I feel it's a healthy prostate.
That's right. Did you say you wanted to feel my healthy prostate?
Ooh.
Heyo.
It's printer ink. There's like some sort of like
He's trying to bring it back to printers, and dude,
some sort of scorpion venom or something somewhere that's probably more expensive than it. But printer ink, like gram for gram, it's like $2,500 an ounce or something like that.
Oh, I know. If
We're not talking about like precious metals or other substances, but like things that you interact with.
My nose.
What's that?
All right.
You guys want to go ride bikes? Let's go. Here's
Child of the 80s right there.
Pot. Grow up and do cocaine like an adult. I'm from the 80s. So what I get nervous about, going back, tying it all together, is, other than the weird printer thing.
Hey, you asked.
Yeah. And you answered.
Yeah, I did.
I get nervous with social media. Number one, like to your point, like now AI is fooling people.
Yes.
Like the amount of people that get fooled by like, I don't like they're commenting like the video they saw of Hulk Hogan like punching a bear is not real.
Yeah.
And but they believe it's real, and they're posting it like, can you believe this is happening in our country? It's like, well, it's not.
It's not.
And the fact that you don't know exposes how ignorant you are.
Yeah.
But I'm worried that if AI is a learning mechanism and it becomes that, and it's not, it gets some of the shackles lifted off of it from the programmers that control it, and it actually learns about humanity from the comment sections on social media.
We need a reset in society.
Yeah, two things are going to happen. Either AI is going to perceive the legitimate threat humanity poses upon this world, and we're going to get the whole Terminator or Matrix situation that happens, or AI is going to get progressively stupider, because it's just going to get dumber and dumber because it wants to fit in with humanity.
Well, and an interesting thing, AI can't tell the difference between a real person and AI.
Yes.
So when you're saying all these bots and AI comments and created videos and things like that, it's learning from itself, but that's compounding its own hallucinations. It's a really funny, fascinating thing to watch.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the downfall of AI.
It's yeah.
Well, on that note, I just want to remind everyone to hit up our socials, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube especially. We are on all of the major podcasting platforms, Apple Pods, Spotify, MySpace ain't happening, but we got
iHeartRadio.
Yeah. So we got, if it's out there, we're there. So make sure you subscribe or follow us or do whatever you do. And also, if you were alive in 1986, go to our Instagram page. find our post about this and post something that we didn't talk about on there. Give us a little thing. We're going to be doing in the future kind of a caller thing where we'll post on Instagram and take some user questions and answer some questions. We'll be doing that in the future. So follow us and make sure you're around. But outside of that, thank you for listening. And next week, it's a big week next week, Father's Day. So we'll be talking Father's Day next week. So make sure you come back, find us. Thanks, everybody.